Hey everyone, we looked at the basic structure of an atom. Now let's talk about one part of that atom in particular. We're going to talk about protons. So protons help us define something called the atomic number. The atomic number we call Z. So if you see Z equals 3, that means we have 3 protons in that atom. So if you look at your periodic table, and it might be really helpful to have a periodic table out while we work through this video in Note Guide. If you look at the periodic table, the protons, the number of protons, that atomic number, is that number written above the element symbol. So for instance, if Z equals 3, we are dealing with lithium because lithium has the number 3 above it. So the protons identifies an atom, which means we can't mess with or change the number of protons or else we change the atom. Just so we're aware, and this kind of should make sense, because protons are positive and electrons are negative, in a neutral atom, the number of protons is equal to the number of electrons, right? Because you have 3 positive protons, you have 3 negative electrons, those would cancel out, and you would have overall a neutral atom. So how can we change the properties of an atom? Well, we can make this charged particle or a charged entity by gaining or losing electrons, right? We can't change the number of protons because if we change the number of these positive protons, remember, that relates to the identity. So for instance, if we had that lithium that had 3 protons, and we're like, hey, we want to make this thing have a +1 charge. Maybe we should give it another positive proton to make it have 4 protons. It's a whole new element because the element with 4 protons is beryllium. So this one's lithium, this one's beryllium. We can't do that, right? If we change the number of protons, we've changed the identity of an atom. But if we wanted to have this lithium gain a +1 charge, what could we do? Well, we could take away a negative thing. So if it has 3 protons, that means it starts with 3 negative electrons. If I take one away and give it 2 negative electrons, now I have 3 positives, 2 negatives. I have a net +1 charge. So when we do that, we form this charged thing called an ion. We can have either positive ions, which happens when we have more protons than electrons, or negative ions when we have more electrons than protons. Positive ions we call cation ions. Negative ions you'd think we'd call dog ions, but we don't. We call those things anions. So we have cations, we have anions. And the convention is to write that charge to the upper right, so our lithium +1 we would write as lithium with a +1 charge. You'll also see that written as lithium 1+. Those are interchangeable, they mean the exact same thing. So let me join you on your note guide. We'll go through some practice problems. If you'd like to pause the video, feel free, but let's work through the practice problems that are here at the bottom of your note guide. So let's talk about the number of protons and electrons in each of these atoms. Well, in oxygen, you can find it on the periodic table. Oxygen has 8 protons, and the convention is to write P with a positive as a superscript because that means P proton, positive. And there are also 8 electrons if we are dealing with a neutral atom. Let's talk about magnesium. Find magnesium on your periodic table. It's number 12 above it, so that means it has 12 protons. If it's neutral, it has 12 electrons to cancel them out. And finally, sulfur, find that on your periodic table. It has a 16 above it, so we got 16 positive protons. If we want to cancel out that charge, we need to have 16 negative electrons. So again, we're just finding those elements on the periodic table, and the atomic number, or Z, written above it, is equal to whatever element we're dealing with. So what's the name of the element that has 11 protons? Find your atomic number. When you find the 11, it is above the symbol Na, and it also says that that is sodium. Let's write the symbol for the ion that has 9 protons and 10 electrons. So think to yourself, if you have 9 things that are positive, if you have 10 things that are negative, we know we're going to have a -1 charge, right? So that's going to be our charge in the upper right-hand corner. And if we have 9 protons, find 9 on the periodic table. That is fluorine, letter F. So our ion is F with a -1 charge. The protons dictates the type of the atom. The electrons dictates the charge. Let's do it again. 13 protons, 10 electrons. So 13 protons. Those are positive. 10 electrons, those are negative. We have 3 extra positive things. We are going to have a +3 charge. But what is the compound? Well, it has 13 protons. Find 13 on your periodic table. That is aluminum. So we are dealing with aluminum with a +3 charge. How about the ion that has 7 protons and 10 electrons? Again, these are positive. These are negative. We have 3 more negative things, so we have a -3 charge. The identity of our element is dictated by the 7 protons. Nitrogen, letter N, is the element with 7 protons. How many protons and electrons are present in an ion of S-2? Let's do this backwards, right? So sulfur, S, has a symbol above it. It has a number above it, I'm sorry. So the number above sulfur is 16. That is the atomic number, so that is our number of protons. It says we have a -2 charge. If we have a -2 charge, we must have 2 extra negative things, so that means we have 18 negative electrons. And then how about protons and electrons in the Li plus atom, or ion, excuse me. So Li is lithium. Lithium has a number 3 above it. Its atomic number is 3. That is the number of protons. You'll notice it has a +1 charge, which means we have 1 extra positive thing, so that means we have 2 negative electrons.